Hi, my name is Scott Struth. This is my video edition for Bannock Outdoor Television. This is my beautiful bride of 33 years, Denise, and we're going to be fly fishing on the Coeur d'Alene River today. We're going to hopefully show you some techniques, and hopefully we will become the northern unit of Bannock Outdoor Television, and we hope you enjoy the video. Thank you. We have Ruby with us today. She's trying to help us out with some fishing. She's just a little over a year old, so she needs to learn her finer points of behavior and manners and fishing etiquette. Ruby, heel. She tries. So Denise working this hole just right below this root wad. So when you approach a hole like this, you start low on the hole and then you work your way to the top.
I might have to delete this part.
A little bit farther, take a few more steps out, and then just try and get it in that riffle water. Oh!
Oh, see, I
You're too slow.
And when I took away the line from my fingers, like this, when I tried to set the hook.
Yeah, no bueno. Keep the trigger set. Can't accomplish anything without pulling the trigger. Denise fishing a hopper pattern.
I'm gonna go in the middle of that riffle.
Yep, that's where they're gonna be at. Okay, cast about 11 or 10.
I lost it.
It's right out in front of you.
There it is.
Good cast. Ruby, come. Hopefully we're gonna get you a picture of some topwater action. Oh!
Oh, stop!
Trigger finger.
Trigger finger. I just have to practice that right now. So just up.
No, to the side.
To the side. So what I'm doing is I'm pulling this apart.
Yeah, and you got nothing.
Some weird reason. Okay, here we go.
Here we go now, here we go.
Here we go.
Okay, this is it. Hopefully we get a fish rise. Little guy.
I pulled it right.
You're...
That was better. Ruby's anxiously looking. He's ready for the fish.
Get it just, and go back. Go to the bank.
Go to the bank? Oh, didn't I?
No, you came up.
Right. That one.
It's okay. It has foam on it, so it'll float.
Okay, I think this pole is not good anymore.
Okay, let me give her a go. So, both hooked into a couple of fish, little guys, doinkers, and we had some rain come in on us, so we're tucked up under a tree trying to stay dry. Just thought I'd go over a few things about gear. Again, if you got felt bottom wading shoes, get rid of those things. Those things are horrible. Get yourself a set of boots with rubber soles and metal studs in them. That's the best way to help protect these fish. These fish have a rough enough time, so let's do all we can to save them. So Denise brought up a important question when she was fishing. She was having a tough time setting the hook on fish.
It's been a couple years since I've been fishing, and it's just trying to get back into it again.
So when you're fly fishing, biggest thing is you're stalking and you're hunting. You're approaching this very methodically. You're working the holes, and as you're managing your fly line, you want to make sure that you always have your trigger finger on your fly line. So here's my rod. When I have any time that I'm fishing, my index finger is on my fly line, and that's my trigger finger, and that's where you set the hook, and that's where you're going to get the tension to set that hook into that fish. I strip through my finger, I strip line through my fingers and everything. The only time I let go is when I'm casting and I'm trying to feed line out and get line out in front of me. Other than that, my finger is always on the trigger, ready to pull it and ready to lock down on that fish. So, important question. Something that a lot of novice fly fishermen have a problem with is how to set the hook. The other thing is when you're setting the hook, it looks cool to do the overhead tarpon set the hook thing, but when you set the hook, you're going to set the hook, if the fish is above you, you're going to set the hook above you towards the bank. If the fish is below you, you're going to set the hook towards the bank below you. So you got to have some agility of being able to instantaneously move that rod either downstream or upstream, depending on where the fish takes it. Because what you want to do is, rather than rip the fly up through the top, you want to rip it through the sides. One, it's less harmful to the fish, in particular like smaller fish. There's a high potential that if you hook them through the top, you're going to jam it through their eyeball. I've seen it happen numerous times. I've done it. I feel horrible about it. It's just damage we don't need to be doing. So if, in particular on these cutthroat and bull trout and these other really sensitive fish, if you can set the hook to the sides, they're going to have less trauma from that. You're developing belly. So like here's what we're talking about when we talk about mending, and what you're trying to do is we have three currents that are different speed, and so this fly line is traveling faster, and so what I want to do is come up and move this so that I maintain a longer drift on that far current. And it's just an easy pickup. And it's not so important with hopper patterns, but like smaller dry flies, you want to be able to keep that fly from dragging. Sometimes fish will pick up skating flies, but more often than not, they want just a straight drift through the hole. But that's what they're looking for. And if it's jerky, and with these fish in here, they get fished a lot, and so they're going to pick up on a fisherman of lesser skill that's mending, because the fly is going to sit there and jerk and move and skate around. Not saying I'm of great skills, but I've only been doing this for 50 years. And I'm 52. Okay, let's bump up. So, while we're sitting here under the tree trying to avoid the rain, the other thing is probably your top piece of gear is going to be a decent set of polarized glasses. And if you need a prescription to see, you need to get a set of prescription sunglasses that are polarized. I prefer amber lenses. Other people prefer gray lenses. I prefer the amber because it's true to color. Gray will affect the color that you're seeing, and you won't see true colors. So I prefer amber lenses. Another thing, in no way am I sponsored by any of the gear that I advocate, but I think it's some of the best stuff out there. As far as fly rods, I think Hardy knocks it out of the park every time. Recently had a rod broken. They replaced the whole thing for free, or they replaced the broken sections for free, which was, they went above and beyond, and they got it right to me, and they were outstanding to work with. So Hardy, solid rod, especially if you're an avid fly caster. I mean, you're gonna notice the dramatic weight reduction in their rods. They used to produce the Zenith. That's what I fish with. That is by far the best rod that I've ever cast, hands down. I will not cast anything else if I have a chance. The only way I'm getting rid of this rod is if it breaks and they can't replace it anymore. So the other thing is Simms boots. They're just tough and burly. My previous set of Simms boots I owned for over 12 years, and you're talking about maybe 100 days of fishing a year. And so those things were beat up, and those things were used and abused, and they held up amazingly. And their cleats and their rubber soles are awesome.
Mine are lightweight. I just bought a pair today, and they have been amazing. They're light, they're not hard to pull out of the water, and it's easy to set my foot when I'm in the stream or river.
Yes. So quality pieces to buy, gear to buy, definitely sunglasses, definitely wading boots. The other thing you might look at or are interested in are fly reels. I've been a sage reel guy for a while, but kind of recently caught the Lamson bug. Lamson is made here in Idaho, produce an outstanding product that is extremely light. If you buy an ultralight fly rod like a Sage Trout or a Hardy ultralight light presentation, or the new Loomis NRX, you need a light reel to go on the back of it, or you're just completely defeating the purpose of having that light rod to begin with. As far as fly lines, all I fish are Scientific Angler. and I prefer the MPX. Quality fly lines, superior floatability, and they'll last. They seem pricey at the front end. You'll be dumping $130 or so on a fly line, but when the fly line lasts you for 4 or 5 years, it seems like it's pretty cheap at that point. The other thing that I've just gotten into are using airflow poly leader for my dry fly fishing, and I'm pretty much an exclusive dry fly fisherman. I will beat my head against a rock before I start throwing nymphs or streamers. The poly leader floats, and it floats very well. Doesn't require any mucilin or any floating on it or anything like that, and it'll stay on top, and it'll keep any dry fly that you have on top of the water for as long as possible. And with dry fly fishing, that is 99% of the game, is keeping that fly on top of the water. If that fly's not on the water, on top of the water, you ain't fishing.
You're in the way.
Ruby, come. Heel. Ruby, heel. A little bit more fly line out. There you go.
Having a hard time seeing the fly.
That's why amber's so much nicer than gray.
Yeah. So out a little further?
Yep. Just keep working out. There you go. Right there.
So if I were to touch and set my hook, I would just almost get you with you positioned right there. When it's coming up, right? Because I want to go towards the bank.
Denise has got herself in a little bit of a boondoggle here. So just another little note about fly fishing and wading and things like that is up here we have an area where there's private land just right behind me on the river. You can see where it's marked. There's no trespassing. Well, when you're wading and when you're in the rivers of Idaho, and this applies to Idaho only, is you can go up on private land within the ordinary high water mark. So that means that if you see flood debris up on the side of the channel or up into the timber, you can access that and you can move along that bank and not be trespassing. The other thing that's unique to Idaho is if you come to an obstacle in the river or the stream, you can temporarily access the private land outside of the the ordinary high water mark, temporarily go around the obstacle, and then immediately come back in the stream. Can't hike up their land for extended periods, but you can temporarily go onto private land and then come back and access the river. The same rule applies to pets if you have them, is they can't be up on the private property just running around doing whatever they want.